Now let's look at some of the more advanced things you can do when working with objects. This lesson has given us a set of little objects that are outside of our pasteboard. We want to be able to move them into a very specific location. So with our selection tool selected and nothing else selected, you can click on the graphics over here, and let's drag the graphics until they're just outside of the editable blossom. Now these hidden characters are kind of getting in the way, so I'm going to go up to Type and down to Hide my hidden characters. Now I can see it the way it's meant to be. If you wanted to place these graphics in a specific location, we can use our Properties panel to do that. First, make sure the little flower graphics are selected. In the Properties panel, locate the Transform section. Transform gives you the ability to change its location, its height and width, and if you click on the little three dots, it'll give you more options and the ability to change it, such as scaling it and rotating it and skewing it. The main thing to remember when using your transform is that there's a relative reference point. Right now, we want to make sure that this top left reference point is selected. I'm going to set my X location to be precisely at 1.85 inches and my Y location to be at 0.05 inches. You can also hit the Tab key to move to the next field. And I'm going to tab down until my rotation is selected, and I'm going to rotate it at -10 degrees. As you type those in, with each selected, you can see how it applies that transformation. The Transform panel is a very powerful tool that gives you the ability to precisely edit any graphics that you have selected. I'm going to use my Zoom tool and zoom a little bit in on these graphics so I can see them better. Now, since these graphics are made up of 3 different individual vector graphics, if you look at their fill color, you can see that there's a question mark. This is simply because there's 3 different colors and there's no one color that's set for its appearance. If we wanted to change the color of any one of these, we need to directly select them. So let's use our white arrow direct selection tool. We're going to deselect everything by clicking off of it. Then I can carefully click just on the white one. Notice now in the appearance panel that the fill color is set to white. If I wanted to change the color, simply click on the swatch and let's choose the green dark swatch. You can see how it's applied to there. Even though I just had one selected, when I use my regular selection tool and click on all of them, they're all still grouped together. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of my page and let's select this black line at the bottom. This black line is made up of a stroke color as well, and so we want to be able to change it. With it selected, change the stroke swatch from black to dark green. I've deselected everything by clicking on my pasteboard, and I'm going to do Command and 0 to zoom back out to fit everything to my page. And let's zoom in one more time to this full menu down here. Use your zoom tool and then click a couple of times until this is pulled up. We want to add a little QR code to this particular area. Let's go up to Object and down to Generate QR Code. From here, you can type in whatever text you want it to be, and there's different kinds of QR codes you can generate. Choose plain text and let the content be this website, http://www.adobe.com. We'll choose the Color tab and let's choose dark green for its color. When we say OK, this QR code is going to follow your cursor until you click or click and drag below this area. Now, wherever you place it, there's a good chance it's going to be the wrong size and the wrong placement. So let's use our Transform panel to be able to place it precisely. With the QR code still selected, let's go up to our Transform panel. Let's set the X value to be 3.6, hit Tab, set the Y value to be 3.25, hit Tab, let the width value to be 1/2 inch, and the height to also be 1/2 inch as well. You can see now that changed the entire frame, but it didn't get the content that's inside of it. If you want to automatically or quickly fit whatever content is inside of a frame, with it selected, you can go to the frame fitting options at the bottom of the Properties panel. These give you the ability to fill or to fit any kind of content or your frame to the content. Click on the second option to fit the content proportionally, and you can see that it automatically scales up your entire QR code to fit nicely and perfectly. Once again, we can deselect everything by clicking away. Let's go to File and Save. I'm going to zoom out by going back up to View, and let's fit the page to the window. The last thing that we want to do is to style up some of our objects. Just like you can have paragraph styles and character styles to quickly format the text, object styles give you the ability to quickly format different objects. If you don't see the object styles over on the right-hand side, you can always go to Window, down to Styles, and choose Object Styles. Notice that there are some predefined object styles already made for us. We're going to use our black arrow selection tool, and let's select this frame for starters and small plates. You can see that there's no object styles applied to it. If we click on the green stroke and drop shadow, automatically it will apply a green stroke, a white fill, and a little drop shadow directly to here because it's already pre-saved into it. Let's do the same for the other text box. So clicking on this one, choose green stroke and drop shadow, and it's placed in here. Now when it did this, it also added a little bit of inset text, which caused our text to reflow, and now entries and desserts isn't at the top. That's an easy fix. Let's choose this first box and click on the bottom center and drag down until the text reflows up here. Then we can click on the second box and let's drag down until it matches the length at the bottom and we see everything. All right, I'll close out my Object Styles panel, and now my entire design is ready to go to the printer. The last thing I want to show you is how to set up your document to make sure that the printer will be able to print it without any problems. Most printers, before you send it to press and pay a lot of money for it, expect you to check for things like to make sure your colors are correct, your fonts are correct, or there's any problems with your graphics. As a matter of fact, most printers will give you a checklist to work from. This checklist is known as a pre-flight checklist. If you look inside of the folder, they've given you this pre-flight checklist as an IDPP file. This is a pre-flight preparatory file. In order to view any errors or problems that may exist on your InDesign file, let's open up our pre-flight checklist. We can go to Window, down to Output, and choose Pre-flight. Pre-flighting a document is very important. You can see under the pre-flight, my profile that I have selected is Mailhouse, which was embedded, so this was the one they sent to us. At the very bottom, I see there's 9 different errors. The errors are listed here, and if I click on Color, I can open it up, and I can see there's a color space that we're using that's not allowed on here. If I scroll down, I can see all the instances of where this color space is being used. Now, in order to fix this problem, click on the info at the bottom. It's saying that the text contains an RGB value, and RGB, of course, can't be printed on a CMYK mode. So what we need to do is we need to go to our swatches and fix this character or this swatch color. Let's go up to Window and open up our swatches. Go to Color and open our swatches. There we are. Aha! Notice in our swatches panel, I've got all of these different little icons. The icons with the 4 colors means it's a CMYK color, but this bright red color that we used was an RGB value. To edit this color value, I'm going to select bright red, then double click on it. This will open up the swatches options, and we can change its color mode now from RGB to CMYK. It'll pick the closest CMYK value, and we'll say OK to it. Notice now our pre-flight errors are completely gone, and there's no errors for the colors or anything else. So this is good to go for print. Now, I started off this project showing you that you can change different viewing modes to see how this would look. Right now we're in normal mode, which allows us to see all of our guides and outlines and bounding boxes. Again, you can return to the bottom of your toolbox. You could go into preview mode, which would show you what it looks like. But if you wanted to get rid of all of the different toolboxes and just see the design by itself, choose presentation mode. Presentation mode will display your entire design and get rid of all the boxes around it. To get out of preview mode, you can hit the escape key or you can do Shift W to return to normal mode. Now that this is done, let's go to File and save it one last time.